Welcome back. Tackle boxes and boats are being prepped right now for this weekend. Wisconsin's annual inland fishing season opens Saturday morning. Not only is it a tradition among families, but fishing also brings in billions of dollars to businesses across the state. And joining us now is Justine Haas, director of the DNR's Bureau of Fisheries Management. Always good to see you, Justine. Aside from the gun deer season, is the inland fishing opener #2 on the yearly calendar when it comes to participation statewide?
Yes, it is. It really is. Right now, we've sold about 306,000 general fishing licenses. So it's right up there with the gun season.
What about trends? I know over the years, the last decade or so, there's been a slow decrease in the number of gun deer sales, gun license sales for deer hunting. What about fishing licenses?
We've been a little more steady. We had a peak in 2020, 2021, like a lot of other licenses and other things with the COVID years, and we've seen a slight decrease. But I am excited to say that through April 30th, that our sales are up this year compared to where we were last year.
Oh, that's
And I
great.
think weather has a lot to do with that.
There you go. Uh, I know, Minnesota touts itself as the land of 10,000 lakes, and I've heard arguably Wisconsin has more. I mean, any idea roughly just how many bodies of water we're talking about statewide when it comes to inland lakes and streams?
Sure, yeah, we have roughly 15,000 lakes, and there is obviously a lot of us in Minnesota. There's definitely a debate about what the size of a lake is, but we say that we have roughly 15,000 lakes, and we have about 12,600 streams and rivers, which roughly is about 84,000 miles of streams and rivers across the state. So really, you can walk around any corner and hit a water body in this state.
Yeah, absolutely. And Minnesota better take a back seat to us, I guess. Okay, let's talk about the rules and regulations. What are some of the most important things anglers need to know?
I think, there's a couple key things. If you're over 16, you need a fishing license. So you can do that a couple different ways. We have fishing license vendors all over the state, or you can go to gowild.wi.gov and buy your license there. You need to have a copy of the fishing regulations. We have printed copies. You can also get the regulations online. We have them in English, Spanish, and Hmong, as well as in large print. So we're trying to be more accessible to all of our users. And really just knowing what the regulation is on the water you want to go to. Each lake isn't the same, or each river isn't the same. So make sure you take a look at what the reg is on the water you're going to. And finally, I think something else you need when you're going fishing is knowing whether your fish are safe to eat or not. So we have a Choose Wisely booklet that you can also get online at dnr.wi.gov. And that tells you whether your fish the fish in the water that you're catching are safe to eat.
Obviously, Lake Michigan, the tributaries, the rivers that flow into Lake Michigan are open year round. Do people get sometimes confused? But that shouldn't be an excuse either. I mean, they need to know.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have seasons that are open year round on several water bodies. The Wisconsin River has seasons open year round as well. And so that's why having a copy of that book is helpful, because it can be confusing.
When it comes to deer hunting, I know, there are shooting hours. Now, can somebody go fishing on these inland lakes at 12:01 on Saturday morning, or do you have to wait till light?
Nope, you can go fishing on the lakes at 12:01. Yes, you can.
Well, sometimes the night bite, I know, is good. Any big
It is. A lot of people do that.
Do they? Okay. Any big changes this year that folks need to know about? Maybe bag limits or things like that, kind of a universal statewide thing?
Yeah, so our biggest change is going to be to the walleye bag limit. If you're living in northern Wisconsin or the northern third of Wisconsin, you've already had bag limits of 3 on many of your waters for a few years. But we've expanded that to across the entire state. So most waters now will have a bag limit of 3. If it currently had a bag limit less than 3, it will remain less than 3. But your daily bag limit, so your personal bag limit, actually stays at 5. And this is for walleye. And so you can go on a lake and you can catch your 3, and then you could go to another lake and catch 2 more to get your 5. But all the lakes now will have a maximum, a limit of 3
Three.
on inland waters.
Okay, that's good to know. Let's talk about the impact fishing has on so many businesses and communities around the state. I mean, it really is tremendous.
Yeah, it's funny to talk about fishing as a business, right? Because a lot of people, it's their way of recreating. But to the economy of Wisconsin, on average, annually, the fishing and fishing related activities bring in about $2.3 billion to the economy. And that's through, bait dealers, it's hotels, restaurants, gas stations, guide services, charter services, all these different entities that support people fishing, as well as the fishing industry that's providing the fishing gear for you to go fishing with too.
Absolutely.
So it's a big money. It's big money.
Real quickly, if you had to guess, and maybe it's not a guess for you certainly, what would be the most targeted fish this weekend, do you feel?
I'm gonna say walleye.
Walleye.
It definitely walleye with the weather we're having. That's what people are gonna want to go for.
All right. Well, Justine, thank you very much for your time, and let's hope all the anglers out there have a safe and successful opening weekend, and you as well when you get to fish on Sunday.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.